I am Yi Xianxiang. Now I introduction my work to you. For task 1, I choose to analyze the KO stock in detail to show that the data has no change over time trade and allows for time series analysis and model forecasting. Firstly, the returns of KO stock are visualized and analyzed. The graph shows that the returns of KO are relatively smooth and do not change over time trades. Next, I choose the ARIMA model for the optimum time series model and find the most suitable model parameters for the KO stock return data by cycling through different parameter combinations and comparing AIC values. I choose to use 18% of the data as the training set because the total data length was sufficient. ARIMA model of KO stock returns based on the optimal model parameters and found that the model fit well. Next, I forecast volatility and can find that the forecasted volatility is able to wrongly follow the trend of the true volatility but usually comes out with a lag or lack of magnitude in response to volatility spikes. Finally, I repeat this process for the other 4 stocks. The results show that they are highly similar and the ARIMA model fits and mean predictions are smooth, reflecting the overall trend of data. By analyzing the results of volatility forecasting, it is found that the results of volatility forecasting analysis for the 4 stocks are also highly similar. The model performance generally well in prediction volatility but properly in extremely volatility situation. For task 2, I choose to use historical value because using historic data from the past 20 years helps to capture the performance of the market over different economic cycles and provides an assessment of return and risk in a real market environment. Then I construct a portfolio from the list assessed and use risk-return analysis to perform an efficient rectangular optimization to determine the optimal weights for the portfolio. By plotting the risk-return graph, we can analyze the risk and return characteristics of each assessed. I then used the Monte Carlo simulation to generate the efficient frontier for portfolio optimization, the results indicating that the portfolio has a high risk-adjusted return. This reflects the portfolio's diversification structure, which helps to reduce unsystematic risk. The portfolio on the efficient frontier formed by the point code in the graph provided the highest returns for the same level of risk. Plotting portfolio performance using optimized portfolio weights. The volatility of the optimized portfolio is slightly lower than that of the equal-weighted portfolio, indicating that by optimizing the weighted proper, the volatility of the portfolio can be reduced to some extent, allowing for more stable returns. The weight allocation of the recommended portfolio next. As shown in the figure, Alice and Bob has exactly the same weight allocation, which may be due to the fact that both of their chosen portfolios achieve the optimum Sharpe ratio under the current optimization conditions. For task 3, I first visualize the correlation matrix on the data and found that most of the stocks have a high positive correlation with each other. The correlation convergence is close to 1, which means that these stocks have very similar performance under the same market conditions. I then use PCA to perform an expanded INOVA. it can be found that the first principal component explains most of the variance, while the explicit variance of the subsequent principal components gradually decrease. This indicates that the first principal component plays an important role in capturing the major variability of the date. Based on the line graph of cumulative explained variance ratio, one can see that cumulative explained variance ratio of the first 10 principal components. Cumulative explained variance represents the percentage of total variance explained by multiple principal components together. Next, the portfolio which are graduated. When use PCA to assign weights to a set in a portfolio, each feature vector needs to be normalized. I found that with these principal components, it is possible to construct multiple independent portfolios, each capturing a different risk factor, thus allowing for diversification. Next, look through the Shaper radial function and found that feature portfolio 8 has the highest Shaper radial, indicating the feature portfolio 8 performs the best in terms of the risk-adjusted return. Finally, I select the 3 feature portfolio in test since the backtest the algorithm. It can be seen that the feature portfolio in the first graph performs the best, suggesting that the feature portfolios screened by PCA can optimize risk-adjusted returns to some extent. For test 2, I first performed tree clustering. First, I calculate the correlation matrix of return and two distant matrices between each assessed. Then, I apply a historical clustering algorithm to cluster the distant matrices. And finally, I generate a 3 diagram. Based on the diagram, we can combine stocks from different clusters to diversify the portfolio and reduce the risk. Next, I have carried out the visualization of the weight assigned to each type of asset. According to the pie chart, it can be found that the weight of each asset are more dispersed and no single asset occupies a large proportion. This shows that the HRP model achieves better diversification in terms of weight allocation. This weight allocation effectively reduces the overall risk of the portfolio as it over-relies on single asset. Finally, I performed backtesting out of sample, where the model is first applied to a test set to verify its performance out of sample. From 2 charts below, we can see that the overall trend of the in-sample graph is steadily increasing. This suggests that the HRP portfolio has performed well over the long term, providing consistently positive returns. Despite the overall increase in cumulative returns over the out-of-sample period, we can observe great volatility. Despite the period of market volatility and the crisis, the HRP portfolios show strong resilience and long-term stability. Thank you.